This is Catching Exceptions, and today I'm going to introduce you to a world traveler and sophisticate, Kamruz Jaman. It's the end of the symposium, it's the end of the summit. We made it.
We survived.
We survived. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
So I'm originally from just outside of London, UK. Grew up there most of my life. I also lived in Canada for a couple of years, and I moved back just a few months ago.
So you're a traveler.
Yes, I love to travel, yeah.
And you've been back and forth between the UK and Canada several times.
Yeah.
Is there like a love affair there? What is that?
Well, my wife is from Montreal, so we met when I was living here before. But yeah, in general, I do love to travel. It's about 15 years ago, I actually backpacked around Southeast Asia for 6 months. I booked a ticket into India and then out of Thailand 6 months later with nothing else figured out in between, which was fun.
And you speak several languages.
I do, yeah. So I speak English, obviously. Yeah. I also speak Bengali and Hindi and a couple of other smaller dialects to some extent.
What's Bengali?
So Bengali, so I'm originally from Bangladesh. My family is originally from Bangladesh.
Okay.
I was actually born there. We moved to the UK when I was 13 months old. So Bangladesh itself does have several dialects. I know one of the dialects because that's what I learned from my parents as a child. I don't know any of the other four. I know Hindi because we actually grew up watching Bollywood movies. And at a younger age, it's very easy to pick up languages from whatever you're watching. So,
what kind of challenges do you face when you move to another country? What kind of advice can you give to somebody?
When you move, I think you really just need to start embracing the local area, the local place, the local cultures, and just get yourself out there, try meet some people.
What was it that actually got you started programming?
So I got into programming at a younger age. Actually, it was at school. We had some old BBC microcomputers.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, and we had a bunch of these at our school, and we had a bunch of books in the library, and I had a couple of free sessions. So while I was doing there, I would just sit down and just read through these books and just make little noises or make little things appear or whatever, right? And yeah, that's initially how I really got started. I didn't really get into it fully until I actually did an internship. That's when I actually started to see something useful that I could do with it. Instead of sitting in a class and just going through these theoretical algorithms and bits of code and some obscure language which is only available at a university level. So that was when I actually started to enjoy it.
And when you were in university, you wrote a dissertation on something pretty interesting. What was that?
Barriers to e-commerce. This was back in early 2000s, so it was still very, very new on the internet and the e-commerce market. And there were some big names who'd spent a lot of money to try and set up some e-commerce sites and projects. They overspent way too much money, and there was some stock market issues and so on and so forth. So it kind of died down, and people were looking at, what's the next big thing going to be, and how are we going to monetize the internet? So yeah, I looked into some of the challenges around making e-commerce more mainstream.
How has that really helped you, from then till now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was able to see some huge potential, not in the ways of Amazon, unfortunately, but I could definitely see some potential there in the internet and the way we would change our habits and the way we would shop in the future.
Can you give me a little bit of some of the what challenges you face as trying to maintain a professional consultancy?
I work as a consultant supplementing either new teams or existing teams, and that's either to bring them onto Sitecore or train them in Sitecore or just to help them with some amount of work for a specified period of time. The good thing about working with that kind of team is you are constantly learning because everybody brings something different from their experiences and how they've done stuff slightly differently, and so you are constantly evolving from all the different exposure that you get from lots of different people and lots of different teams.
Yeah. And the last question, which is always the most difficult, what is your message to the community?
Always use a config patch. Never touch those default Sitecore files because that's going to come and bite you back badly.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
So that was Catching Exceptions, and you just met Kamruz Jaman, a professional Sitecore consultant. Next time you see me, we're going to be getting to know somebody else. Till then, hang loose.
Pani ni da pani ni re re pani ni re re pani ni re ni papa mama ga sa ma pani da kar ma la ni ni pani mama mama ga ma sa ga ma pani da ni pa ma ga sa ga ma pani da ni pa ma ga sa ga ma pani da ama